Continuing on with lesson 6.1, slope-intercept form. Yesterday so we're doing slope-intercept form. We practiced putting equations into slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, and then graphing them. Today we're working on word problems. We're on example 3. And for these, it's going to ask us to do multiple things. So I'm going to write down all the things that the question is going to ask so we make sure we do them all. It says identify the slope and the y-intercept. And we need to interpret them. So remember, interpret means write a sentence telling me what it actually means, like dumb it down for me. Write me a sentence in just layman's terms of what does that slope actually mean for the situation, and what does the y-intercept mean for that situation. Okay, after you do that, then it says write the equation and solve. So for all of these, we have a couple things we need to do. Okay, for our first one, I'm going to read the word problem and then we'll write down the important information. For one taxi company, the cost y in dollars of a taxi ride is a linear function of the distance x in miles traveled. The initial cost is $2.50 and the charge per mile is 35 cents. Find the cost of riding a distance of 10 miles. So most of you probably are not familiar. When you get into a taxi, like the meter's already running. So as soon as you sit down and you look at the little meter, it already has a price on there. So this one says it's $2.50. So as soon as you get in the taxi, you're paying $2.50. Then as it's driving, you'll see it starts just increasing. So the little thing is just on the dashboard and you can see it going up. So the longer the drive is, obviously it costs more money. Okay, so let's write down the important information. It says that X stands for miles and Y stands for the cost. It tells me the initial cost is $2.50. And then it says it's 35 cents per mile. And then the main question is saying find the cost of going 10 miles. Okay, we have to do a couple different things. We have to identify the slope, we have to identify the y-intercept, we have to write sentences about what they mean, we have to write the equation, and then we have to actually solve for this 10 miles. Okay, so let's just go in order. Identify the slope. The slope is going to be the amount, the number that keeps changing per something else. So that's going to be your 35 cents. It keeps changing per mile. So that's your rate of change, that's your slope. Your slope is the 0.35. We have to interpret that, so we have to write a sentence about what does this 0.35 mean. And it means it costs 35 cents per mile. Each mile, you pay another 35 cents. Okay, now let's do the y-intercept. Okay, that's always 0, comma something. So the y-intercept is the initial cost. It is the price as soon as you start something. So for them, their initial cost, as soon as you get in the taxi, they're going to charge you $2.50. So $2.50 or 2.5 is the y-intercept. So at 0 miles, you're going to still pay $2.50. So the initial price is $2.50 for 0 miles. So you're never going to pay less than $2.50. Next, it says to write the equation. So every time we write these are linear, so we're going to put it into slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. We just need to substitute in the m and the b. So it'll be y equals, m stands for slope. The slope is 35 cents. And put your x. That seems to be where everyone misses, and I get points taken off, is people forget to put the x. And then we put the y-intercept, that's the b. So that's plus the $2.50. And then it says, finally, what is the cost for 10 miles? So 10 plugged in or substituted in for x. Okay, grab your calculator. Go ahead and calculate how much does it cost to go 10 miles in that taxi. If you need to borrow a calculator from me, bring me your phone. Bless you. You should have the final cost is $6. So some of the answers it asked, identify the slope and interpret it. That's this answer. Identify the y-intercept and interpret. That's this answer. Oops. Come up with the equation. That's this answer. And then finally, what's the cost for those 10 miles is $6. So these ones, I'm looking for a bunch of different things. Okay, let's do another one. Anyone still need this up? Okay. Okay, this one I'm going to read out loud. There is a picture of a graph, but I'll just tell you the points. You really don't need the graph. A chairlift descends from a mountaintop to pick up skiers at the bottom. The height in feet of the chairlift is a linear function of the time in minutes since it begins descending, as shown in the graph. Find the height of the chairlift 2 minutes after it begins descending. So some important information. It tells me in the graph, picture of the graph, the label on the x-axis is time in minutes. That's important. The label on the y-axis tells me it'll be height in feet. So there's a graph here. You really don't need the graphs in your notes. I'm just going to give you those 2 points that they told us. So go ahead and write down one of the points is 0, 5,400. And 4, 2,400. So at 0 minutes, the chairlift is at 5,400 feet. At 4 minutes, the chairlift is 2,400 feet. So this chairlift is coming down the mountain. It asks us, find the height after 2 minutes. So again, for this one, we have to, bless you, find the slope, interpret the slope. Find the y-intercept, interpret the y-intercept, come up with the equation, and we have to solve it. Okay, so let's start with slope. Right now, I don't know the slope, But I know there's 2 points. Go ahead and label those points x, y, x, y. Label the first point with sub 1s and the second point with sub 2s. Slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, use your calculator and figure out what the slope is. So do 2,400 minus 5,400. And then 4 minus 0. This reduces more. You always have to reduce all the way down. 3,000 divided by 4, that works out perfectly to be negative 750 over 1. So that means I know the slope. The slope is negative 750. I have to interpret that. So I have to say, what does that even mean for this whole situation with the ski lift? So as you remember, slope is always y over x, right? The words that go with y is the height. The words that represent x, that is your time. So think about, how would you write this as a sentence, or if you had to say this to somebody, like how would you say it nice and normally? Like, what does negative 750 height 1 time even mean? We're talking about minutes and feet. We're talking about a ski lift that's coming down the mountain. So when you interpret, when you write a sentence, it doesn't need to be exact like this, but something like the chairlift comes down 750 feet every minute, or something along those lines. Each minute it descends 750 feet. So when it says interpret, I need a good sentence. Okay, next we're going to do the Y-intercept. That's always 0, comma something. Okay, if you look at the points that they gave us, they actually gave us the Y-intercept right here. 0, comma. So always just double check. Sometimes it's already in there. So the Y-intercept is 0, comma 5,400. Okay, I have to write this as a sentence. So when we have a point, this is always x and y. X stands for the time in minutes. Y stands for the height in feet. So I have to think about, how would I write this as a sentence? What does this even mean? So at 0 minutes, the ski lift, or the ski chair, what do they call it? Chairlift, is at 5,400 feet. So something along those lines. It's just, that's the top of the mountain. So most of you guys have seen chairlifts. So at the top of the mountain, it's at 5,400 feet, and then it starts coming down 750 feet each minute. So our sentence will be something like, at 0 minutes, the chairlift is at, it's at 5,400 feet. So before the chairlift comes down the mountain, it's at the very top of the mountain, and that mountain is 5,400 feet tall. Okay, so we figured out slope, we interpreted slope. We figured out the Y-intercept, we interpreted the Y-intercept. Next we have to do is write the equation. So it's always y equals. M stands for slope. The slope is negative 750. We always write our x, and then we write the y-intercept. It's at positive 5,040, so you put plus 5,040. And then finally it says to find the height after 2 minutes. So you're plugging in 2 for x. And then take your calculator. Negative 750, bless you, times 2, bless you, plus 5,400. Don't forget to add on your 5,400. And it gets it, it'll be at 3,900 feet. So after 2 minutes, the chairlift will be at 3,900 feet. Okay, last question we're doing for today. And then we're done. Okay, I'm going to read the word problem. A local club charges initial membership fee as well as a monthly cost. The cost C in dollars is a linear function of the number of months of membership. Find the cost of the membership after 4 months. Okay, so we have a table they give us. We'll do time in months. And then the cost of the membership. So if you're a member for 0 months, it costs $100. I hope you're taking good notes. Eric, wake up. Hi. If you are a member for 3 months, your cost is $277. And then 6 months, your cost is $454. And then the question says, what's the cost after 4 months? Okay, if you look at your table, you'll see the y-intercept is already listed. The y-intercept is always 0, something, right? So this right here, we know that this is the y-intercept. We know the initial cost to join is $100. Like, we've done these word problems a lot, like the initial cost, the sign-up fee, the installation fee, wherever they start at, that's your y-intercept. So they start at $100. And then you have to pay a monthly fee. So now we have to figure out that monthly fee, which is your slope. So go ahead, pick 2 points. Right now they give you 3 points. 0, 100 is a point. 3, 277 is a point. 6, 454 is a point. Pick 2 of those points and find the slope. Go ahead and do that. Well, I used these 2 points. You can pick whatever 2 points you want. Don't forget to reduce it all the way down. So slope is 59. So we're going to make the equation y equals 59. Then put your x. And then finally your y-intercept. We know it hits at 0, 100. So positive 100 is your y-intercept. So plus 100. We have to find the cost after 4 months. So you're plugging in 4 for x. So 59 times 4, don't forget to add on that $100 sign-up fee. And after 4 months, the cost is going to be $336. Okay, everybody good there? You are working on an exit ticket now, so it's on HMH. It is for a grade. So go to HMH, find 6.1 exit ticket. Use your notes, use some scratch paper, use your calculator. You can move around right now and work with your friends. We have an activity that we're working on tomorrow, so if you want to come get the activity ahead of time, I have the worksheets. They're up here, so if you do finish the exit ticket early and you want to get ahead, you can come get the worksheet and work on that as well. And then it is flex day, so you guys are out of here at 9:15. The activity, I haven't decided yet.